Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I finally got around to making this long sleeve satin top with ruching on the shoulders and waist and these billowing sleeves with a tie closure in the front. This statement top is perfect for a nice dinner or a night out with a pair of heels. So if you would like to see how I made this, keep on watching. If you've seen my videos, you've seen me use this basic block pattern before. I will link a tutorial below if you don't have them already. Using these patterns, I traced off my desired shape, creating this plunging deep V neckline. And here it is before we add the lines that we are going to slash and spread to create the volume on the top. Here is the block pattern in comparison to the slash and spreaded version of the front pattern. And no changes were made to my basic block back pattern. And I also slash and spreaded a traced off version of my sleeve pattern. I straightened out the sides to give it a more billowy effect on the sleeve. And here are all the pieces cut out. And I did zigzag stitch around the edges off camera to make the fabric easier to work with. I started by hemming the front edge of the top by tacking down 1 centimeter with a straight stitch and having switched my machine to a knit foot to help sew the slippery fabric. Once that was done, I went on to sew 2 rows of basting stitches on the tops and on the bottoms of the front piece of the top to create the gathered effect on the shoulders and on the front of the waist. If you didn't leave enough room in the seam allowance, you could always just sew 1 row of basting stitches, but I like to have 2 to have more control. And once the top was done, I seam ripped out any visible stitches. I also did 2 basting stitches on the tops of the sleeves, leaving the bottom sleeves untouched. Now we are going to be looking for our bobbin threads to pull on them to create the gathers. And here is a front piece without having pulled on the bobbin threads in comparison to one that has the ruching. Next, I moved on to pinning and sewing together the front pieces to the back piece at the shoulders and at the sides with a straight stitch. I then sewed together the 2 pieces of my waist tie. After, I sewed up the sides of my sleeves with a straight stitch. For the cuff of the sleeve, I decided to use elastic. So after measuring it around my wrist, I also measured the width to see how wide to make the elastic channel, to be able to thread it through later. Once figuring out the width of the elastic channel, I pinned all around, leaving a gap to be able to put the elastic in later. And I sewed all around with a straight stitch. Once finished, I used a safety pin to thread the elastic through the tunnel and clip the ends together once I reached the other side. And I did hand stitch this just so it wouldn't get caught in my machine. Next, I went back to close up the gap that we left to thread the elastic through. before going ahead and installing her sleeves. So I took my now finished sleeves and pinned them in the armholes, and I will be sewing them together in place with a straight stitch all around. Onto the waist tie. I marked out the start and the finish of my top on the waistband, and then I folded the ends together and sewed up until those pins. And I did make a pointed start to the beginning and the end of the tie, just so it looks more like a bow. And once finished, I took the waist tie and I took the top and I pinned one edge of the waist tie to the top. And I decided to sew each edge of the tie one edge at a time. You could sew it all in one, just having sandwiched the bow tie and the top, but I didn't trust myself, so I did it in 2 steps. After that, our top is done. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please subscribe, especially if you would like to join me in my next DIY. Would love to have you. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, morning. Thank you guys so much, especially to all of you guys that have subscribed, because I really appreciate it and it motivates me to make more videos for you. So, bye!